Okay, so let me welcome all of you now to this first day of the Sunday morning class resumption. We've been having this class for a very, very long time, but in the last couple of years it has been online. Now it is offline. Oh, online also. Online also. Somebody was telling me, the father asked the daughter, where are my pants? The daughter said, it's drying online. The father said, what? They're doing all that online nowadays too? Drying pants also. So our language has changed. In the old days, online means bedsheet on the line. But now, satsang online. Alright, so it has been online for the last couple years. And today we'll resume. Now we'll be seeing Viveka Chudamani. Now, we will have the same structure as we had before. The first 15 minutes or so, the address will be to Balvihar children. And last 15 minutes again with different things. So, in the Balvihar class, what usually is there is some singing, kirtan, bhajan, all that for children. And then there is some storytelling or some such thing. And then the Balvihar children will go to their Balvihar class. And then the Viveka Chudamani will start here. So the adults don't have to get worried. You will not become bored, because adults are nothing but big children. We like music and we like stories also. There is no adult person who doesn't like story. So I'll tell you a story now. Story a little bit long, but listen to this now. So, there was one Raja Sukant. Raja Sukant used to be a good devotee of Bhagwan, and wherever there is satsang, he used to attend. So, one day he heard that there was a Sant Sanmelan, all saints are meeting at some place. Sadhu, Sant, Mahatma, they are all meeting there. So he thought he'll go there and do namaskar, do prostrations, salutations, and then he'll get darshan of all of these saints. So he set out from his kingdom when he was going there. And on the way, Narad came, Narad Muni. So Narad Muni asked Sukant, Raja Sukant, where are you going? He said, I am going to get Sant Darshan over there. I do prostration and get Sant Darshan. So Narad Muni said, oh. See, when you go there, all these saints will be there. Vishwamitraji will be there also. When you go, you prostrate to all of them, but don't prostrate to this Vishwamitra. So Raja said, but Naradji, that is not good. Why should I not prostrate to Vishwamitraji? He's also like all the other saints, na? Why should I not prostrate? You should not prostrate because I told not to prostrate. What more you want? But in any case, this Vishwamitra, he was also Raja at one time like you. So why Raja will have to prostrate to another Raja? That is not good. So you don't prostrate. So Raja Sukant said, okay, I'll follow, because this Deva Rishi Narad is telling, he is the Rishi of the Devas. So he went there and he prostrated to everybody and did not prostrate to this Vishwamitra. Now when you insult somebody in private, that is one thing, but when you insult somebody in public, in front of all other saints and sages and everybody, That thing is terrible, isn't it? So, Vishwamitra got terribly insulted, and he got up from there and he went to immediately Ayodhya. He went to complain to Bhagwan Ram. The Raja Sukant, he did not prostrate to me, insulted me in front of all others. So when he got there, Lakshmana was at the door. So he asked Lakshmana, let me see Ram. Where is Rama? Lakshmana said, no, you can't see Ram. He's sleeping. So raha hai wo. Oh. Vishwamitra said, you see, when the Raja sleeps, that is what happens to saints. They get insulted. Symbolically. Bhagwan Ram heard the commotion going on outside and he got up. And he asked, so Vishwamitra, what happened? He said, I was insulted. Oh, who insulted you? What would you do if you know who? He asked Ram. What I'll do? I'll cut off his head. Who insulted the sage? So Vishwamitra said, that Raja Sukant, he insulted me. So Bhagwan Ram said, well, I already gave word, I'll go there and cut off his head. Bhagwan Ram set out long distance to Sukant kingdom. Meanwhile, the news reached Sukant. Rama is coming to cut off his head. So he ran away from that place. And ran to the forest. And then called out to Narad. Narad did not come. He said, you see, to put me in trouble he came. To take me out of trouble now he is. He is not coming. Then anyway, he cried out loudly, Narad came, finally. Then he asked, now look what should I do? Look what trouble you put me in. Rama is coming to cut off my head. Narad said, you go in such and such cave, mountain cave. Anjani is there. Tell Anjani to save you. Anjani is Hanumanji's mother. So quickly Sukant ran there. And Anjani came out. And he said, Ma, this Vishwamitra has given me sharp. You save me. So he did not say Rama, he said Vishwamitra. Save me. So Anjani said, surely I will save you. A little while later, Hanumanji came and she told Hanumanji, her son, this Sukant has come seeking refuge. Would you save him? Hanumanji said, yes, if mother is asked, I will save him. So Hanumanji asked Sukant, oh, what happened? Rama is coming to cut off my head. Her mother said Vishwamitra. Yes, but Vishwamitra caused Rama. Now Hanumanji is promised on the feet of Bhagwan Ram to save Sukant. And Rama on the feet of Vishwamitra to cut out Sukant's head. Now look at this predicament now. He swore on the feet of the Guru. He swore on the feet of the Guru and he swore on the feet of Ishtadev. So Rama came eventually. Meanwhile, Hanumanji, he had prepared this Sukant. You sit down behind me. And start chanting the name of Ram. Shri Ram, Shri Ram, Shri Ram. They started chanting, both of them. And Rama came there and he saw Hanumanji sitting. Hanumanji opened his eyes and said, Prabhu, I have taken sankalpa to save Sukant. Rama said, I have taken sankalpa to kill Sukant. Like this now, Bhagwan Ram said, well, okay, you save, I will kill. When Hanumanji sat back down and started chanting Ram, 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 and Sukant scared behind him, sometimes he's chanting, sometimes he's not chanting. He's opening one eye to check. It went on like this. Rama started shooting arrows, but the name of Ram formed an orb like that, and any arrow that came got deflected by that orb, just went away. Then Lakshman wondered, none of Rama's arrows are going through there. Lakshmana was standing on the side. He released an arrow and it struck Hanumanji in his heart. And when it struck Hanumanji, Rama fell unconscious. Because Rama dwells in the heart of Hanumanji. So he fell unconscious. Now Lakshmanji became so disturbed. He intended to shoot Hanumanji. He shot Rama. Anyway, he tried to revive Rama, and in an agitated mind, he was lamenting. Meanwhile, Rama got up. He regained his consciousness. Then, when Rama got up, he saw the chest of Hanumanji bleeding. So he could not bear that. So Rama stretched out his hands to heal Hanumanji, like that. Like how he had healed Sugriva and healed everybody. Stretched out his hand to heal Hanumanji. And closing his eyes, he stretched out his hand like this to save Hanumanji. And when he closed his eyes, Hanumanji quickly brought Sukant from behind and put him in front. And Rama put his hand on Sukant's head only. I blessed you with long, healthy life. So now the same Rama who came to kill Sukant now blessed Sukant. So, Bhagavan asked that Sukant, where you learned this thing, in which kusang means bad company, you learnt not to prostrate to saints. Sukant said, not kusang, I learned in satsang. Satsang? Yes, satsang with Narad. Moment he said Narad, Narad came. So Bhagavan asked Narad, why you told this Sukant not to prostrate to Vishwamitra? What kind of bad advice is that? You should advise devotees to prostrate to saints. You advise not to prostrate. Narada said, Prabhu, you see, everywhere I go from this place to that place, everywhere. People ask, who is greater? Ram is greater or Ram Nam is greater? People ask that question. So I just did this whole thing so that today we will know who is greater. Ram is greater or Ram Nam is greater? Now see, you came to kill Sukant, but Ram Nam saved Sukant. So who is greater? Now I will tell everybody. I will tell everybody the story. Now there is some story to tell. So like this, the whole thing was set up by Narad to show that the name of Bhagavan Ram is greater than Ram even. This is a tradition. Huh? Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare,
Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare,
Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare,
Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare,
Rama Rama Hare Hare,
Rama Rama Hare Hare,
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare,
Krishna Hare Hare.
श्यावर रामचंद्र की जय, कृष्ण कन्हैया लाल की जय. Okay, so all the while we have students can go to their class. There will be somebody there who will take care. All right. So now the text which we are seeing in this class is a Viveka Chudamani. Viveka means discrimination. This is a big word in Vedanta. So before I go into this, let me just tell you. This is Vedanta. It is not the ordinary regular class that you know. Vedanta is in short called as Upanishad. Upanishad. And what is Upanishad? You know, in any system which you are exposed to, that system has a beginning and an end. If you see the educational system which we have, so you start in beginning A, B, C, D, all simple things, isn't it? B-A-T, bat, C-A-T, cat, D-O-G, dog, like that you start all the basic simple things. But that's the way the system runs. And then you study and on. You get all the way to postgraduate, PhD class and all that, isn't it? So there's a system like that. Well, the intellectual faculty solely, because body also is of no consequence at that level. Body is come and go. Jivas have had countless bodies. They come and go. So really, contemplation and meditation and all such higher sadhana is what the Upanishads talk about, not the ordinary thing. Not that, you see, if you did not learn A for apple, B for bat, hair in this preschool, you will not be able to function in university, isn't it? It is absolutely impossible. If you did not learn all this spelling and all these things going up, there you will not be able to function, not be able to do anything. So this is all foundation built for that only. All BAT, bat, CAT, cat, like that we learn. Foundation for whatever comes in the level of PhD and all. Well, the same thing with all the sadhanas of the Vedas. They start with all simple things, but they are all foundation for this contemplation and meditation. And this contemplation meditation is what is given in the Upanishads. Now, Upanishads also are not so easy to understand, one thing. Second thing is, the presentation, because of a long passage of time, we don't know how many things have been omitted, left out, because some things would have dropped off it. This is the way history runs. Many things, like when children are born, long ago, they used to make halwa. You know halwa? Now, how many people know how to make halwa? Raise hand. One. And when we come back after a little while, it will be none. Means things drop off. Rarely they drop off. Lots of things drop off over a long period of time. Sakale neha mahata yogo nashta parantapa in fourth chapter, Bhagavad tells. Kalena, by time, naturally. This is a natural entropy which is built into the universe. By time, all things get lost. And Bhagavan says so much so that even this knowledge, my dear Arjuna, which I am giving to you, it got lost. Now I have to again give. So that is the ravages of time. It destroys everything, including knowledge. You see? So, things get lost and we have to again start and we have to again pick up where we left off. Now see, the Vedas start with all the simple things and go on giving all the more difficult things. And we now have to study as a system, a course of program like that, which is given out. Not just I jump in anywhere. And in education system, if you migrate to America and they have to put you in one class, they will see where you reach here and they will put you in the appropriate class. You can't just jump in anywhere. So now all of you have been listening to so many things we have been teaching for so many years and all. And now we want to study a little bit this Viveka Chudamani. So it is the last portion which is given in the Upanishad. Like I said, the Upanishad also, we don't know exactly all what have been lost, all what have been, retained and all that. So Bhagavan Shankaracharya, in many of his texts which he has written, he has given a very nice presentation of that same Upanishadic knowledge in simpler verses and connecting all the portions which may have been left out and all of that. And that doesn't mean to say that we don't have to study Upanishads. We study Upanishads and then we put in those portions, do the explanation to include those portions and all. But in many of his texts, he has given a very nice flow of thoughts with regard to Vedanta. So one such very popular text is called as Viveka Chudamani. And Viveka means, I told you, discrimination. Chudamani means crest jewel. When a king has a crown, there are many jewels, but then there is one in the top here, the tallest one. The crest jewel of discrimination. Viveka. Discrimination word is what we use in English, but we should try to use the Sanskrit word itself, Viveka. Sometimes the word which is very close to that is called as vichar. Vichar. So it means reflection, contemplation. It means discrimination. It means applying the mind to deliberate between real and unreal, between permanent and impermanent, between that which is true and that which is untrue. And when we speak about true and untrue, we talk about reality. Reality is true. That thing which is coming and going is untrue. It is ephemeral, passing, transient. So to discriminate between the real substratum of the universe, which is permanent, which never goes, and the ephemeral, transient part of the universe, which is coming and going. Here today and gone tomorrow. But all of that play of coming and going is happening on a substratum which is permanent. So that constant discrimination and all the techniques and arts of discriminating, all that is given in this Viveka Chudamani. So now, with that little introduction, let us begin this. I don't know how many of you have the text, but you can. Now, I will not also go into deep Vedanta like when we are teaching this Vedanta course. This will be a lighter class, because in Vedanta course all Sanskrit things will come there. So I will tell now. First verse you try to repeat. And if, see, look, just now before coming here, I downloaded this. It is there online. I downloaded just a few minutes before coming to this class. So you can download in your phone and your little iPad and all of that. So you can follow the verses. Huh? All right. How he starts. See this. Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta
Vedanta Siddhanta
Gocharam Tamagocharam
Gocharam Tamagocharam
Govindam Paramanandam
Govindam Paramanandam
Sadgurum Pranatosmyaham
Sadgurum Pranatosmyaham
Pranataha Asmi Aham. I do salutations. This is Sanskrit language. You read backward, forward, from the middle anyway. You'll have to figure out. Look, this is one of the things about Sanskrit. You'll have to first chant the verse, and when chanting, you'll figure out where to start to get the meaning in a verse. So here you have to start from the last phrase. Pranataha asmi aham means I salute. Who? Sadguru. The Guru. Sadguru. Sadguru. I saw a very nice thing in the writings of Samartha Ramdasji, great sage of Maharashtra, in describing Sadguru, because you hear all sorts of words about Sadguru, right? This word, all sorts of meanings and explanation. He very simply said, Sadguru is he who makes the Jiva remember he is Siva. Who makes the Jiva remember he is Ishvara. Not makes the Jiva into Ishvara, who makes the Jiva remember that he is Ishvara. Meaning to say, Jiva is already Ishvara. It's not that I am not Ishvara. I am one being who is intricately tied up with Ishvara, inseparable from Ishvara. That is the idea. And the Jiva is just forgotten. So I salute that Sadguru who makes the Jiva remember that he is Ishvara. And no different from Ishvara. Ishvara amsa Jiva avinashi, like Tulsidashi has written, like that. Mamaiva amsho Jiva loke. Bhagavan says, but Jiva is amsha of me only in Gita. So, I salute that Sadguru. This is the meaning, last pada. Now the rest of the verse describes that Sadguru only. He is Govindam. Bhagavan Shankaracharya's Guru was Govinda Pada Acharya. Govinda Pada was a disciple of Gaudapada. So now it, like in our times, how it will be like, I am disciple of Swami Chinmayananda, and Swami Chinmayananda is disciple of Swami Tapovanji Maharaj, like that. So Shankaracharya, Govinda Padacharya and Gauda Padacharya, like this. So now Shankaracharya is doing salutation to his Guru, and he puts the name there, Govindam, so that in one word he has achieved two things. He has done salutations to his Guru, and he has done salutations to his Ishta Devata also, because Govinda was his Ishta Devata. So, Pranatosmyaham, I do salutations to Govindam, who is Guru, and also, since he says this Govinda is Paramanandam, Paramananda means he is of the supreme, of the nature of supreme bliss. So while he is doing salutations to his guru, he is doing salutation to his Ishta Devata, he is also doing salutations to the absolute reality, Brahman, realizing that Guru and Ishta Devata is nothing but absolute reality, Brahman, Paramanandam. How many things he achieved in one line like that? And that Guru is the one who knows the reality, the one who is the reality at the same time, all. And Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta Gocharam Tama Gocharam. And that Guru who is Paramananda, that supreme reality, that supreme reality is described in that first line. That supreme reality is Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta Gocharam. Supreme reality, who is my Guru, who is my Ishta Devata, that supreme reality is known through the Upanishads. That is the short of it. Supreme reality is known through the Upanishads. Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta means the teaching of the Upanishad is what I need to know that supreme reality. And that supreme reality is agocharam. Tam agocharam. Is not known by the ordinary senses, ordinary faculties. That is the idea. So how do we know the supreme reality, Paramananda? That supreme reality is known by deep study, contemplation and meditation upon the teachings of the Upanishad and not by ordinary sense organs. That is the idea. Agochara. Agochara means not known by the senses, not known by the faculties. But the previous line says, Gocharam is known. But known how? Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta, by the teachings of the Upanishad. And this is the meaning of the first verse. Now, I'll tell you now, let's see. I think I told I'll finish 6 verses. Is correct? 5 verses? 5 verses, okay. I will finish 5 verses then. Now next one, and this is a very colorful text. A colorful scripture of Bhagavan Shankaracharya, verses of different types, different meters, different tunes you will hear in here. Okay, now see next one. So just now, Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta Gocharam Tama Gocharam, now meter changes. See this. Jantunam narajanma dullabhamataha
Jantunam narajanma dullabhamataha
Pumstvam tato viprata
Pumstvam tato viprata
Tasmad Vedika dharma marga parata
Tasmad Vedika dharma marga parata
Vidvatvam asmat param
Vidvatvam asmat param
Atmanatma vivechanam svanubhavo
Atmanatma vivechanam svanubhavo
Brahmatmana samsthitihi
Brahmatmana samstitihi
Muktirno shatajanma koti sukritaihi
Muktirno shatajanma koti sukritaihi
Punyairvina labhyate
Punyervina labhyate
Jantunam narajanma dullabhamataha. Dullabhamataha. Dullabhamataha is very difficult to get. Most difficult to get. Most difficult to obtain, to acquire. What? Narajanma. Narajanma. From where? Jantunam. Among all different types of births, bodies. So how many creatures are there in this world? So many different types of bodies. You could be born as a grasshopper, hopping from grass to grass, born as a caterpillar. How many various types of bodies are there? Jantu. Jantu means creatures. How many different types of creatures? So Jantu Nam, among all the creatures, Narajanma, the human birth, is durlabhamataha. Durlabham, very difficult to obtain. Okay, so the meaning to say, Bhagavan Shankaracharya, we are fortunate. At least this much we have human birth. Then more difficult than human birth is pumstvam. Pumstvam. Pumstvam means manliness. That is it, manliness. Puja Gurudev says that this word, he said, some of these words in this verse are so badly mutilated over the course of history. So pumstvam means, to have manliness means to have masculine qualities. And masculine qualities are those, what is being spoken about is not the body, masculine body. What is being spoken about is masculine qualities. Because in feminine body there are many masculine qualities also. And in masculine body there are many feminine qualities also. That this is how the world is there. That is why you see such. I remember, I don't know how many of you remember Margaret Thatcher, but Margaret Thatcher was said to be the only man in the cabinet. Pumstvam. So the qualities which are spoken about really is the quality of bravery, the quality of bravery, the quality of balance, the quality of, bravery means valor and all that, right? Balance means equilibrium, the quality of a very firm, clear intellect that doesn't get thrown off very fast and is not affected by emotionalism and those type of qualities. Whoever has those type of qualities is the one who is being referred to here. So there are many jivas in male bodies who are overly emotional. So the intellect gets thrown off very easily, like that, you see. So that is the undesirable quality in this path. The intellect should have a state of balance, or doesn't get thrown off by emotions and all that kind of thing. That is the idea. So pumstvam, when pumstvam is spoken, this is what is meant. Then tataha viprata. Viprata means the one who is vipra. This Tulsidas-ji uses this word everywhere in the Ramayana. Vipra. One who has special intelligence, because a human being may be born and he is not very well endowed with sattva, is more on the side of tamas, and so he is not aware of what is going on. So many things are transpiring. He is totally oblivious of his surroundings and all that kind of thing. Totally oblivious of the society in which he is born, who he is, where I was born, which is the period in history in which I am living, how did history transpire to reach this stage, and where I am now and where I should go. All that type of wisdom comes from being aware of my time and place and my condition. Desha kala paristhiti, like that. One has to be aware. There's not such a thing happen and where exactly I am. I remember seeing a lot of this absence of viprata growing up. Civilization totally unaware of where it is at. That is the idea. So being aware, viprata. So to have the human birth, then pumstvam, manliness, then viprata, special awareness driven by sattva. That is even more rare. Then tasmat vedika dharma marga parata, then even more rare. See, he's telling what is rarer and rarer and rarer. To have one quality, then to have two, then to have three, like that. Being aware is one thing. You know, okay, I am in this. This is 2022. The world has come through so many different upheavals, and we went through a World War I, World War II, and then that we went through slavery, and then indentureship, and this nation moved these people and infused into their mind a different consciousness, Western thinking, and wiped out their mode of thinking, and all these things about your own present state, how I got here, why and how and wherefore and whence, and all that. Having all of that is fine, but what Vedika Dharma Marga. Vedika Dharma Marga means in my awareness, in my consciousness and all of that, I should have also a very firm understanding of the dharma which is taught in the Vedas. Now a person with viprata, the awareness, but he doesn't have Vedic teaching, he is missed out big time. So it is even rarer now to have all of these qualities, and then in addition to that have the teaching of the Vedic dharma, teachings of the Vedas. Then Vidvatvamasmat Param. So to be introduced to the teachings of the Vedas and to become a Vidwan of Veda. Vidwan of Vedas means one who has great understanding of the Vedas and can just tell it to anybody like that. Anything you ask from Vedas, he knows. He's called Vedic Vidwan. Vidvatvamasmat Param. So that is even more rare, because a person may be introduced to Vedas. Yes, I belong to this Vedic tradition. I am a Vedic follower or this or that. But to be able to become a Vidwan, an adept in Vedic knowledge, that is the idea. One is to belong to that, to identify with that, to be introduced to that, and one is to become an adept of that. Vidvatvamasmat Param. That is even more rare. Then what is more rare? Atma and Atma Vivechanam Swanubhavo. In the Vedic tradition, as I told you just now, in the Vedas, we have a system, starts from simple things and it goes all the way up to the Upanishads. There's a system, a process of study. So in that process of study of the Vedic tradition, to be able to understand the Upanishad and to understand the very important, the crux of the matter in Upanishad. What is that? That is Atma and Atma Viveka. The Upanishad is telling about discriminating. We should be very cognizant of what is Atma and what is Anatma. What is real, what is unreal. What is permanent, what is impermanent. To be minutely aware of this Atma and Anatma. The permanent and impermanent. The substratum and the superimposition. To be minutely aware of that, and to have that in the uppermost part of the consciousness at all times, that is even rarer. And then finally he says, Brahmatmana samsthitihi. Staying identified with the Brahman, which is there explained in the Upanishad. Staying identified with that substratum, staying identified with the permanent. That is the rarest, that is the end. More and more rare. He says, this cannot happen. Muktir no shata janma koti sukritaihi. This mukti, abiding in the substratum, abiding in the reality, that is not obtained except through shata janma koti sukritaihi. Shata janma means 100 countless births, and koti is Delhi Deepanyaya. Shata janma koti. Koti means 10 million, and Shata means 100. Hundreds of 10 millions. Those who are good mathematicians, you do some calculation. Janma. Hundreds of 10 millions of janma. And in those janma, not only hundreds of 10 million of janma, born as an ant, born as a crocodile, not that. Born as a human being and has done Sukrita, means Punya Karma. Punya Karma means even as a human being, you know, doing only Papa Karma is useless. That will make him go back and back and back. But Punya Karma in this countless lifetimes. Punya irvina labhyate. It is not to be obtained. This mukti, which is Brahmatmana samsthitihi. Staying, abiding in Brahman, staying, abiding in reality, that is not to be had except through countless births of punya karma, doing all these lifetimes and lifetimes of punya karma, good deeds, you see. That staying in Brahma reality is called as mukti. Mukti, that is the first word in the last line. Okay, now, Three things he said, very difficult to obtain, and obtained by the grace of God only. See now number 3. Durlabham trayamevaitat
दुर्लभं त्रयमेवैतत्
devanugraha hetukam
देवानुग्ररहेतुकम्
manusyatvam mumukshutvam
मनुष्यत्वं मुमुक्षुत्वं
mahapurusha samshrayah.
महापुरुषं
Etatrayam. Etatrayam means these 3. They are durlabham. Durlabham is just so. Durlabham is very difficult to obtain. And how are they obtained? Devanugraha hetukam, by the grace of God only. By the grace of Ishvara, they are obtained. This is the first line. These 3 are very difficult to obtain. And they are obtained by grace of Ishvara only. Which are the 3? Second line tells. Which 3? Manushyatvam. The same thing we were talking about just now, having a human birth with all of these qualities which we just saw. Manushyatvam. Then other one, mumukshutvam. Very difficult to obtain. Mumukshutvam means a burning desire for liberation. Because in this world, actually speaking, let me tell you, all of us have a desire for liberation. But 2 things about that. We all have naturally, instinctively, inborn desire for liberation. But 2 things about that. One is, we do not know that it is really a desire for liberation which we have. We don't really know that the desire which we have is a desire for liberation. And second thing, it is not intense. That mukshutvam is not tivra. Tivra means intense, strong. It's so. It's weak. So first thing, how we all have a desire for liberation, look here. Every creature, every jiva wants happiness. First thing. Second thing, that jiva doesn't want temporary happiness. Jiva wants permanent happiness. You don't want happiness just one day. We want to be happy every day. Every day. Well, desire for happiness is desire for bliss. And desire for bliss we want permanently. That is called mukti only. Permanent happiness is called mukti only. We all have it, just we don't think in those terms. We think, oh, when I get this object, I'll be happy. When I get that object, I'll be happy. When I meet this person, I'll be happy. When I get rid of this person, I'll be happy. Like that. So, in all of those things, either the sukha prapti or dukkha nivritti is same thing. Means I'm trying to acquire happiness or get rid of sorrow. If I get rid of sorrow, then I'm happy. So, it's still happiness only. So, all of us want this only. And we don't want little bit of it, and we don't want it, means little quantity, and we don't want it for one day, for short time. We want most happiness, and we want it for all times. So we all want mukti actually. We are confused about where and how and whence and wherefore and all of this mukti. That is a different matter, but that is what we want. Mukti only. Second thing about this mukti is nobody has a strong desire for mukti, strong desire for liberation, strong desire to come out from the sansara, strong desire to get rid of sorrow. We have sort of resigned ourselves and accepted, okay, we will get a little bit of misery here, we'll get a little bit of joy here, we'll have a mixed bag, and everybody get resigned to that fact, we'll have a mixed bag. And any strong desire to come out from samsara and all, that is not there. So he says, Durlabham, very difficult to have strong mumukshutvam, tivra mumukshutvam. So manushyatvam, mumukshutvam. Then Mahapurusha Samshrayaha. Mahapurusha Samshrayaha means the protection and guidance of a sage, saint, Mahatma, Mahapurusha, great being, great person, who can guide me to this mukti. So these three things, very difficult to find, to obtain, to acquire. And the last line of the previous verse applies. The last line applies again. What is that? Shata janma koti sukritaihi. Means only by countless births of punya karma these things will be obtained. And here actually takes it one step further. Devanugraha hetukam. Only by the grace of God. Grace of God means what? See, why would Bhagavan have grace on one person and not on the other person? So it is not to be understood like that. It is to be understood that Bhagavan's grace is all the time flowing. And he who has Shata Janma Koti Sukrita, who has done Punya Karma, he accesses that grace. And it is by that grace he obtains this Mahapurusha Samshraya. Or he obtains Mumukshutvam, or he obtains additional human birth. You see? One has to do a lot of punya karma. Otherwise, in two verses you see two contradictory things. What contradictory things? Here just now he is telling that we obtain all of that mukshutvam and all that mukti and all. What? By koti janma sukrita. By countless births of good karma. And in the next verse, very next verse, we obtain these three things, mumukshutvam and manushyatvam ityadi, we obtain only by grace of God. So now which is the correct one? Grace of God or sukrita? Punya karma. Well, it is both. You see, obtained by the grace of God means we access the grace of God only by punya karma. If I don't do any punya karma, I will not accept. If I don't move my umbrella, I cannot get sunlight. Though sunlight is there. No vitamin D. But move the umbrella. Like that. The sunlight is all the time shining. Grace of God is all the time flowing. That is the idea. Okay, now see, the man who gets this human birth and doesn't use it, Bhagavan tells in next verse, that fellow, he commits a great papa. What papa? We'll see. Labdhva kathanchin narajanma durlabham.
Labdva kathanchin narajanma durlabham.
Tatrapi pumsvam shruti paradarshanam.
Tatrapi pumsvam shruti paradarshanam.
Yastvatma mukto nayate tamudhadhihi.
Yastvatma mukto nayate tamudhadhihi.
Sahyat mahaswam vinihantya sadgrahat.
Sahyat mahaswam vinihantya sadgrahat.
Labdhva katham chin. Kathanchin means by some means, by in some way. Labdhva, he has obtained. Obtained what? Nara janma. No, see, we don't, I am Jiva, you are Jiva, all of us are Jiva, the ant is a Jiva, the dog is a Jiva, the grasshopper is a Jiva, the bird is a Jiva, all the Jiva. And how we have obtained this human birth? How we obtained? By some means. Bhagavan resigns to that thought, kathanchin. By some way we have obtained this human birth. We can't go back to find out how. No need also to go back to find out how we obtained this human birth. But we did. So by some means, labdhva, having obtained, what? Narajanma, this, which is durlabham, very difficult, rare, human birth. By some means, having obtained this human birth, now we are here. Actually, it is true also, in life in general, not very wise to go back too much. To go back too much. It's good to figure out where you are by how the path you have come. But what is more important is where you are first and then where you're going to Go. People spend too much time actually dwelling on past. And then what happens? You get into all sorts of victim syndrome. Have you seen? Heard? You go on counting yourself as victim. I am victim of this one did that to me and that one did that to me and the other one. Not going to do much. People go back into regression therapy and all sorts of things. And they just see where you are now. Some slight perusal of your path if you come, where you are now and where you're supposed to go. That is important. Many say that understanding the past is essential to understand the present. We say, yeah, okay, that is one thing, but dwelling on the past is not good. So, how we have gotten this human birth, you go back to find out all that, no need. Having gotten this human birth, he says, tatrapi pumstvam, and that also having the manly qualities, and shruti pada darshanam, and having the teaching of the scriptures also. Know the scriptures means the person knows the scriptures. He is vidwan, shastra vidwan, right? Then yastvatma muktau nayateta murahi. That person, if he did not strive for mukti, he is called as muradhihi. Foolish. Muradhi means foolish. Means he got human birth, which is rare. Then he got manly qualities. Then he knows the scriptures also. But there are many people who know scriptures to make money. Isn't it? You can know scriptures to do many things. You know scriptures to debate and defeat that one. And defeat them. And put down the other one. That made people who write PhD also know scriptures. But to get a PhD, you have to argue your point or critique another person's point. And like that. So he has to know the scripture very well in order to do that. So that is not what is spoken about. It means shruti pada darshanam. And means he knows the scriptures intimately, and from that he is supposed to strive for mukti. And if he didn't do that, he just knew the scriptures for one of these other reasons. He says, yet, muradhihi, nayateta, he didn't strive for mukti. Nayateta. He says, such a person, he commits great pap. What is this? Sa hyatmaha. He commits suicide. Atmaha means suicide. He commits suicide. Swam vinihanti asadgahat. He destroys himself by holding on to the world. So I know the scripture, but I use it to make money. So the money becomes the real thing. Money becomes desirable. Whatever he uses the scriptures for, right? So he's holding on to that asat, unreal thing, which comes and goes. And he is not striving for mukti, the real thing. That person kills himself by himself, commits suicide. That is a very strong line. Then, now number 5. See, if you are introduced to the lines, you have to go home now and read the lines and study them. That is your own study. Atmaha. Otherwise people say, these are contradictory things. How will kill the self? How we can kill ourselves by ourselves? What it really means, you can't kill, nobody can kill the self. Nainam, in the Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan described, Nainam chindanti shastrani, Nainam dahati pavakaha, nothing can cut, kill, wet the self. The self is immortal. So Atmaha means what then? I kill myself, I commit suicide. Atmaha means the opportunity which I had through getting human birth, pumstvam, manliness, then knowing the Shastra, all of that gave me an opportunity. It gave me an opportunity to realize who I am. And then what happened? I did not realize. So in other words, what I am doing is the self which is in a state of bondage. State of bondage means the self which feels itself to be bound. Like I'll tell you of an example which Bhagavad gives elsewhere. They have some trap to catch parrots. I don't know if you have heard this. The parrot comes and lands on this piece of stick. So the stick is suspended by different strings and all of that, right? And when the parrot lands there, the stick is made to swing in such a way that it confuses the parrot, and the parrot thinks that now he is bound. They balance it on strings in such a way it is made to swing. When the parrot lands there, it is made to swing in such a way that the parrot thinks, oh, I'm caught. When he's not caught, But because of in other words, they make his mind get chakkar. Chakkar means? What's chakkar? Dizzy, yes. They make his mind get dizzy. In Trinidad language, you get tutulbe. The parrot gets that. And he feels that, oh, I know I'm caught. And he cannot come out of that thing. But the fact is, he's not caught. So here, you have to understand something like that. The self is not really caught up by this sansar. It's like that state of that parrot. There's a feeling that it is caught. So now, that self, which is in that state, feeling that it is caught, and the self, the human being has an opportunity to free himself from that. He doesn't use the opportunity. It means he keeps the self in a perpetual state of bondage. He keeps himself in that perpetual state. That is called Atmaha here, destroying himself by himself. Not that one can destroy the self. No, not to be taken literally like that. Okay. Now, number 5. See that. Itako nwasti mudhatma.
Itako nwasti mudhatma.
Yastu swarte pramadyati.
Yastu swarte pramadyati.
Durlabam. Every human being by birth, whether we like or know or don't know, whatever, we seek our self-interest. We seek our self-interest first, that which will make me happy. If I see a situation there which will not make me happy, I try to come out of that situation. I seek my self-interest. And you just have to give some more thought to this. Even when a mother takes that child from the wet bed and puts the child on a dry bed, and the mother sleeps on the wet bed herself, she is not seeking the child's self-interest. She is seeking her own self-interest. You may not have given thought to this, but you have to give thought to this. She moved the child from the wet bed, put the child on the dry bed, and she sleeps on the wet bed. She is still seeking her own self-interest. Because if the child stays on the wet bed, the child will fall sick. If the child falls sick, who suffers? The mother suffers. So you think like this and you will see it is, and this is there in our mind also. All beings seek their own self-interest. In seeking my self-interest, I may have to seek the other being's interest in order to satisfy my self. But eventually it is only myself. So all beings seek their own self-interest. The problem lies where? The problem lies here that we don't really know what is our proper self-interest. That is where the problem lies. I think this is in my self-interest, when really it is this which is in my self-interest. That is our problem. So the Shastra is now telling, or Shastra is bringing to our attention what really is in our self-interest. really is, our self-interest is mukti. And that's why I told in the beginning also, we really want mukti. That we don't know. My real self-interest is mukti. So, Bhagavan asked the question, this is a question, Itaha kaha nu asti muratma yastu swarte pramadati. Where is there a greater fool who doesn't seek his own self-interest? In other words, really and truly we are all seeking our self-interest, but we are confused about what really is our self-interest. We think that see, when you were brought up, what were you told? When you were brought up, you were told like this, see, all of us. Beta, go to school. Study. When you study, you'll get a good education, you'll get a good job. When you get a good job, you'll make good money. You make good money, you will get a good wife or good husband. And you'll build a nice house and you'll have a car and you'll be happy. You're taught like that or not? Everybody taught that only. Look at these three things only: marriage, house and property and those kind of things. Depends on which period you were born. But and what is the final? Live happily ever after. You heard that? Well, that is classic fairy tale. No such thing. Live happily ever after. So, we are taught some basic, rustic, kind of primitive philosophical lessons at that age, and we go on following. But really speaking, none of that is in our self-interest, but that's what we are taught. Real self-interest is mukti. So, after having gained all the qualifications for mukti, this person doesn't seek his real self-interest. He seeks only this thing which has been handed to him. He says, where is there a greater fool than that? Of course, to some extent, we can say that we are taught that also. We are taught that, but each person has to learn to think independently also. Durlabam manusham deham, having gotten this very rare human birth, prapya tatra api paurusham, and having gotten the manliness which is being spoken about, and these qualifications, he doesn't seek mukti. He said, that person is muratma. Muratma, Bhagavan Shankaracharya likes this word. In Bhaja Govindam, he starts like this. Bhaja Govindam, Govindam Bhaja Mudha Mate. Mudha. So, now you see beginning here. What is the one message which is coming out from this Viveka Chudamani? Mukti only. It starts like this. Mukti. Vedo nityam adhiyatam taditam karma svanushthiyatam. In his sadhana panchakam, he has started with Vedo nityam adhiyatam, study the Vedas daily. And then in the end, Brahmatmanasam sthiti, only what is being taught here, you will see there also. Means study the Vedas and staying lodged in Brahman, staying fixed in Brahman, staying, abiding in Brahman. The teaching is like that only, very simple thing. Study the scriptures and follow the process and stay abiding in Brahman, absolute reality. So this is what the topic is. So now you will be coming here on Sunday morning to listen to this. This will be the topic only. It will not be Chore chale आज हमारे राम अयोध्या छोड़ चले. You're not going to hear any chopaya and all like, today Rama has left Ayodhya. Everybody crying. That's a different topic. That we did just now 108 days. So now pure Vedanta of Upanishads. Now let us chant this number 6 and we'll see. Vadantu shastrani yajantu devan
Vadantu shastrani yajantu devan
Kurvantu karmani bhajantu devataha
Kurvantu karmani bhajantu devataha
Atmaikya bodhena vinapi muktihi
Atmaikya bodhena vina vimuktihi
Na siddhyati brahma shatantarepi.
Na siddhyati brahma shatantarepi.
Okay, that will be next week. See, I finished 5. आरती श्री चिन्मय सद्गुरु की दिव्य रूप मूर्ति करुणा की आरती सद्गुरु की चरणों में उनकी शांति समाए शरणागति शांति मिटाए ताप संताप हरण की आरती श्री चिन्मय सद्गुरु की आरती सद्गुरु की वेद उपनिषद गीता को गाया धर्म सनातन फिर से जगाया शंकर की आरती श्री चिन्मय सद्गुरु की आरती सद्गुरु की सिद्धवारी की तपोभूमि में नित्य विराजे गुरु हमारे भक्त हृदय आरती सद्गुरु की आरती सद्गुरु की ओम पूर्णमद पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ओम शांति शांति शांतिः हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः हरि ओम सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय।
We stand as one family. Serve as an army, courageous and disciplined. And false values within and without us. We live honestly, the noble life of sacrifice and service, producing more than what we consume, and giving more than what we take. We seek the Lord's grace to keep us on the path of virtue, courage, and wisdom. May thy grace and blessings flow through us to the world around us. We believe that the service of our country is the service of the Lord of Lords, and devotion to the people is the devotion to the Supreme Self. We know our responsibilities. Give us the ability and courage to fulfill them. Om Tat Sat.